shred techniques are awesome. Is it even possible to make them easy so that we can get our guitar soloing to sound like that? For most guitar players, trying to play Paul Gilbert licks is like trying to catch a fly with chopsticks. However, over the years, I've discovered a system that has allowed me, as well as many of my students, to nail these licks perfectly and fast. And maybe it will do the same for you too. So watch this video to the end if you want to learn 3 awesome Paul Gilbert licks showing 3 key techniques, exactly why they sound so good, and a system to practice and nail these licks at full speed every time. And then we'll combine everything into an epic Paul Gilbert style shred solo at the end. Oh, and there'll be tabs for everything. So grab your guitar now and let's get started. Lick 1. Have you ever wondered how Paul Gilbert turns simple repeating patterns of notes into really musical shred lines that just sound amazing? One way that he does this is he combines hammer-ons and pull-offs with alternate picking. The basic pattern behind this lick goes pick, hammer, hammer, pull-off, pick, pick. That percussive sound of the pick combines with the fluid sound of the hammer-ons and pull-offs to give like interesting textures. He'll also start a repeating pattern on a different note. So this repeating pattern, you can start and end here on this note, or I could start and end here on this note up here, or even this one at the bottom. It's exactly the same pattern, but it's just getting transformed by which note I'm starting and ending on. You might have also noticed in lick 1, I'm taking the same pattern and putting it in different positions, but I'm also playing it at different speeds. Or a fancy way of saying that is different note divisions. Note divisions are a lot easier to show than they are to describe, so I'm just going to play that simple pattern again with a number of different note divisions and put on screen what note division it is. Paul Gilbert also uses another trick that makes his licks actually sound faster than they really are. See if you can spot what it is in lick 2. Now, did you spot the extra trick that was used in this lick? Licks like this are sometimes called 1-3-1 licks, and that refers to the number of notes played on each string. So for example, I have 1 note played on the E string, 3 notes played on the B string, and 1 on the G. So we got this. See, it's a repeating pattern of 5, and odd note groupings like 5, 7, 9, and 11 not only make licks sound more musical, but it also makes them sound fluid and sometimes can make them actually sound faster than they really are. And we also have something called syncopation. The rhythm is actually strict 8th notes or 16ths, but he's playing a repeating group of 5. And that means that the group of notes that lands on each beat keeps changing. It kind of hides the fact that this is actually still just a repeating pattern of notes. Another thing I haven't mentioned yet is that Paul Gilbert is a master of shred note choice. Before I get into that, just quickly, all of the licks in this video are in A minor if you want to steal them, and you can steal them even better by following the link in the description and grabbing the tabs to everything, including the backing track. Oh, and it's free. So what kind of scales does Paul Gilbert use? Well, see if you can spot it in this next lick. So here's the scale that this lick is based on. You don't have to play it as fast as that. But strictly speaking, this is not actually a scale. What do I mean by that? So a scale has to repeat every octave for it to be called a scale. But what we have here is a shape, which is a combination of different scales, which kind of changes as you go through the octave. You don't have to understand the theory, you can just memorize the shape and use it for your licks, and feel free to do that. But you guys that put the time in to really understand this theory, in the long run, you're gonna go a lot further. Once you master this scale, you're gonna start to hear it in Paul Gilbert's playing all the time. So now I'm gonna play a solo that combines everything we've learned so far, and then we're gonna talk about how to nail the speed. Okay, I'm going to use the first lick to show my system for building speed. Here it is at 80 beats per minute. So a conventional approach to speed would be to just add a couple of beats per minute, let's say move it to 85 beats per minute, and try to nail it perfectly a certain number of times in a row, say 2, 3, or 4 times in a row, and then continue to increase the speed. And that is actually a very, very good approach if you're just starting out or you're just starting to memorize the lick to begin with. But if you're anything like me, you will eventually start to plateau and you'll reach a speed where no amount of perfect repetitions at that speed allows you to take it to a faster speed. And there is a much better way. And I'm going to show you that right now. So imagine I'm plateauing at about 120 beats per minute. Whenever I put it to 125, it starts to turn to slop. But what we want to do is put that metronome up a lot higher, something around 20% faster, and then just take one beat. And what we're going to do is I'm going to play the notes of the first beat and the first note from the next beat. So in the tab, that looks like this, and it's 7 notes. So at 130, that's going to sound like this. You just start and stop like that, and this is called burst practice. And what you're going to do then is really just push that to the ludicrous extremes of how fast you can go for just one beat. This is going to help you to break through those speed plateaus. Obviously, the next step is to take the next beat and so on, and then you'll start to glue them together. Burst speed practice is a very big topic that really deserves its own video or even series of videos. But for now, use this approach with the licks in this video and you'll start to nail these Paul Gilbert licks at awesome speeds and leave 99% of the other guitar players who are practicing the old way in the dust. Now, Paul Gilbert's shred techniques are incredible, but does this speed system work for, say, the right-hand tapping of a player like Steve Vai? Click this video next to find out what these Steve Vai techniques are, how to get them into any guitar solo, and how to nail them at full speed.